Hi, welcome back to Cold Iron's Kitchen. I'm Wade. Have you ever had this happen to you? Your spouse comes home from work and says, "Hey honey, guess what? We have a potluck coming up and I signed us up for dessert." And they say, "Oh good, when is it?" And you say, "Tomorrow." Before you start thinking about where to bury the body, I've got a quick and easy dish for you to use. Okay. It's called a fruit crumble, but we're going to do pears and plums. I just happen to have 6 real nice plums I already cut up. Now you need to blanch those and peel the skins off and whack them out of the stones. I also have 4 red pears. And they got a little bruised going through the store, but I like to leave the skin on a pear because it adds a little texture. We're dealing with a very loose fruit and a very hard fruit. So you make little squares out of these. Don't worry about any markings on them. You'll eat them. You won't know about it. And nice chunks. You want chunks because they're going to be cooking here. And it'll mush up a little bit. But not so much that you won't like it. No. Yeah, take the top off the pear. And I just cut around the edges here and don't worry about the core. It's all full of seeds anyway. Who wants to eat that? There we go. I got my little pan over that says, "Yeah, I used to be a pear." It's a real quick one to put together though. And lots of fun. You're going to, make some diagonal ones here. It doesn't matter. But I've got 4 red pears here. 6 nice medium-sized plums. And the fun part about this particular recipe is you don't have to use pears and plums. You go to your freezer section, you can get peaches, cherries, berries. It's a very versatile recipe. I mean, you make it what you want it. I just happen to have pears and plums. But I've had requests to show a few more dessert type items on my site, and so here it is. Now, I'm going to finish chopping these critters up. And then we're going to put a few other things in it. Now it's going to need some seasoning. And the seasoning is going to need, some people want to put sugar in it. But if you've got people that are intolerant of refined sugar or can't handle a whole lot of it, honey is a good way to go for sweetener. Because, well, it's natural. The bees don't mind much. Unless you watched Bee World or whatever that was. The Bee's Life. The one with Seinfeld in it. But, yeah, you don't want to put any seeds in that though. But chop this up. And slowly but surely, as you're thinking about this and your spouse and you're making knife marks, at least you know you're not going to have to find a place to hide the body because you're going to have a nice dessert. Now you put all this together and set it aside. Hi, we're back. We got all the fruits cut up. Now I use plums and pears together because they're a nice combination of real soft fruit with a real bitey fruit. And I keep the skins on the pears because they add a nice texture to them. Now to this, we're going to put in a little bit of lemon juice. A couple of reasons. The citric will help the plums become their own. And, yeah, it's just being friendly there. And we're also going to put in a little bit of powdered ginger. Just a smidge. Bigger smidge. There we go. And we'll put in a smidge of cinnamon. Somebody took my lid off. Okay, a little bit of cinnamon. We're going to add some sweet to it. Like I said, you can put sugar in it, about 3 tablespoons if you want, or you can put about 3 tablespoons of honey. Now I'm using a blueberry honey, which means that the hives were set into a blueberry patch, and that's what the bees ate on. About 3 tablespoons. 2, 3. Okay. But a blueberry honey. Good stuff. And we got the cinnamon, we've got the honey. You want to put a pinch of salt in this. That, believe it or not, brings out the sweet. And to make sure that when this stuff bakes up and bubbles up and you can eat it as a solid piece, we're going to put in some tapioca flour. Now, you don't have to use tapioca flour. You can use arrowroot or cornstarch. But we're going to go with about 1/8 of a cup. And we're going to stir that in. Because what happens is when it boils, it's going to release juices. And when the juices are released, it's going to mix with the tapioca flour. And then when it cools, it's going to set up and you cut nice pieces out of it. Perfect for a potluck. Okay, we got these little guys together. So I'm going to set them off to the side. They'll play later. Now we're going to make the crumble. Now for this, a food processor is useful. Not mandatory. You can use a blender, I guess. You're going to put 1.5 cups of flour. Now I've got a tiny food processor here. So things are going to get a little cramped. And we're going to keep an eye on that. I'll be right back. You're going to want to put in a little bit of nutmeg with this. And just, you can use fresh nutmeg or buy the already crushed up stuff. This might look like it's going to get cramped. Some fresh nutmeg in this. Fresh nutmeg, can't beat it. Get your salt. Now, I got 3/4 of a stick of butter here. And I'm going to try to find room for it in here. But you want it chilled. You don't want melted butter or anything like that because that won't make a good crumble. Just poke these things in. I'm pretty sure everybody's going to play well together. I've got a pretty high dome on this thing. I've got a new food processor coming in the mail though. Yeah. Overstock.com. That's where you find them at. Okay. And then I've got 1/3 of a cup of sugar. Now, this way that you cut down the refined sugar in your product by quite a bit when you're using some natural flavors. Okay, folks, don't take any bets, but this is going to be fun. If I can remember how to put this thing back together. I think I'm backwards. Oh. I do hate it when equipment doesn't want to play. Technical difficulties. This is a relatively new unit for me, so just got to get to where I put the safety interlock in. There it is. No, it's not. Tell you what, folks, we'll come back in a second when I figure out how to put this thing together. See you in a minute. Hi, we're back. Finally figured out how to work this darn thing. It's a brand new one to me, so now I'm going through and I'm picking up my little chunks of butter. I'm squishing them a little bit. And I'm going to do this up in 2 batches because, well, I needed a bigger food processor, and, well, ours died, the bigger one. But this one here will do just fine. We'll mix everything together, and I'll make a mess on the cutting board here like I normally do. Like an occupational hazard. You throw the stuff in there. Now, it should come out looking like this, kind of like breadcrumbs. Right there. Let's take a look at that now. Looks crummy. Breadcrumby, that is. Yeah, I'm a messy baker, I know. I keep getting reminded of that. Get these things out of the way. Stir this together real quick. Make sure all the flavors are blended nicely. And you know we got some butter in here, a pinch of salt, some flour, some sugar, some nutmeg. All good flavors. Now, find our baking dish. I'm using an 8x8 baking dish. And I'm going to spray it. with a little bit of non-stick cooking spray. Now this serves two purposes. One, helps get the food out, and two, makes it a whole lot easier to clean up. Good, unless you really like scrubbing things. In that case, skip it. We'll grab our mixed up fruit here. Our fruit with the tapioca flour, a little bit of lemon juice, cinnamon. Good stuff in here. Just dump it in here. Dump, 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 dump. Now, if you're taking this to a potluck, go get yourself a disposable 8x8, so you don't have to worry about losing your pan. If you're serving at home, use the good stuff here. Now, the crumble, you just sprinkle across the top, covering the whole surface. Now, this is going to go into an oven at 390 degrees for about 30 minutes, or until the top turns brown. And, well, we'll get back to you here a little bit later about when we're bringing it out of the oven, but I got to warn you, don't try to eat it fresh out of the oven. Give it an hour, because it's molten lava when it comes out. It hurts. Talk to you a bit. Hi, we're back. Well, we just finished dinner, and we got the crumble out of the stove. Let's take a look at this right here. Yeah, you see this juice is bubbling up inside. You see that brown on the crust there. But you've got to let this cool. You got to let it cool for at least a half an hour, maybe an hour, unless, of course, you like to have a tongue transplant. But simple dish, simple fruit. You can use any fruit you like. Rhubarb, peaches, pears, cherries, blackberries. I don't recommend strawberries, but it's dessert. Thanks for watching.